Microphone? Okay, all right, perfect.
All right, thank you all for joining us this evening. We're here for Town Hall stakeholders meeting for the 2023-24 lead and galvanized steel water service line replacement project. So this is the year 2 project for the city of Batavia. So the good news is, yes, we've been through a year 1, we've learned lessons, and we're going to apply them to year 2 and make it even better. But year 1 went very well. I had a lot of great feedback from the residents whose services were replaced from that program, and that's been a labor of love from the city. They've been working on this project since 2020, identifying services, looking at funding opportunities, and really putting themselves in a very good position to provide a good service to the residents of Batavia. So the first year program was 100% principal forgiveness. So that was all effectively grant money that they received for it. This year it is a loan, but it's a very low interest loan, very advantageous terms. And so once again, they are footing the bill, so to speak, for folks to have their lead or galvanized service replaced. So it's a great service that is being provided to the residents. But at the same time, we know there's uncertainty. From your standpoint, you want to have a better handle on what the process is, how it's going to impact you, and that's why we're here tonight. Emily's going to walk through a presentation where she's going to just go through the project at a high level, but also get into some details about how exactly the service is going to be replaced, how it is going to impact you. We have the contractor here as well, representatives from 5 Star Energy. They are the ones who were selected to do the project this year, and we're excited to work with them. EEI is the consulting engineer. We've been working with the city throughout the process in this program, worked with them in year one, and we've actually worked with Five Star Energy in other communities as well and have a good relationship with them. So we're excited for this project. Of course, we have city representatives here as well, and we're all here to answer any questions that you have. So as Emily is working through the materials, I'd ask that you just pipe up and ask your questions, or you can wait to the end and ask them at that time. Just to start, my name is Steve Dennison. I should have said that initially. Got it. Okay. Thank you. I'm Steve Dennison with Engineering Enterprises. I've been with EEI since 2004, about 20 years now. I actually live here in Batavia as well, so I'm a fellow resident of yours. Emily here is a project engineer. She's been working on the lead service line projects for not just in Batavia, but other communities as well. And so she's really taking ownership of this Batavia project and is going to walk through the requirements. You will see Tom Silke over there during construction. He is our boots on the ground representative who is going to be accompanying the contractor in their work. And so he will be out there while the work is being done. And then we'll let the Five Star Energy folks introduce themselves a little bit later in the presentation. There's an opportunity for them to do that. And the city, you can all introduce yourselves, I guess, very quickly before we hop into it. Gary?
I'm Gary Holm, Public Works Director, City Behind the Post.
I'm Jeff West, water utility worker.
And Jeff is going to be another person who you will likely see on site.
Dan Swanson with the Water Department.
And Jeremy Barkey, Water and Sewer.
All right, very good. We'll turn it over to Emily at this time and let you hop into it.
You need to share the screen.
Trying to hide this as much as I can.
That works, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, everybody, and welcome. Thank you all for coming out to the Town Hall stakeholder meeting. Steve already mentioned, my name's Emily. I'm the project engineer for this, and we're going to go through a little bit of information on kind of what you can expect. I can figure out how to share the next slide. Oh, okay. So a little bit about what we're going to go through. So a couple introductions and opening remarks. Steve already covered a good amount of that. So thank you, Steve. A little bit of the project overview. We're going to move into what to expect with the homeowner meetings between you guys and the contractor. And then we're going to give a brief introduction to Five Star Energy Services and let them introduce themselves as well. And then the estimated schedule of how things are going to run, and we'll end it with some Q&A. Like Steve mentioned, if at any point you have questions throughout the presentation, please don't hesitate to let me know and we can get that answered for you. So moving into the project overview, this is Batavia's second large-scale planned lead service line replacement program. Last year was our first year, and it was a great success. So this year, we're going to be utilizing loan funding from the IEPA up to a total of $4.5 million. This increased from the original amount for the year two, which was $2.025 million, due to ongoing efforts from the city to obtain additional funds towards this project. So that was very good news to get the $4.5 million. That'll cover the replacement of approximately 350 to 400 lead service lines. So lead service line replacements, just walking through how those work. There's 3 different types of replacements you could have. So looking at this little graphic, you've got your water main, which is typically out in the road or near the road. You've got your service valve or your curb box. This will be on your property line, usually in a grassy area, sometimes in pavement. Everything from the water main to that curb box is city-owned. So we refer to that as a public side replacement or a partial from main to curb box or B-box. Anything from that service valve or curb box or property line inside the home to the water meter is owned by the customer or by you guys, the homeowners. We refer to this as a partial B-box to meter replacement. And then anything that goes all the way from the water main into the home at the water meter is a full main to meter replacement. And as a general note, only portions of service lines that are lead or galvanized downstream of lead will be replaced. Little update on the project. So you guys as residents should have received the infographic attached to this slide. This gives you a general idea of what to expect during the different stages of construction, between the homeowner meetings, the actual replacement and construction work, and then the follow-up restoration work. I believe this is also available on the city's website. Yes. So you can reference this throughout the project. And then there is a QR code link on the bottom, which takes you directly to the city's lead page, which has some additional resources for you. All TCEs, temporary construction easements, or the legal agreement between the homeowner and the city have been executed, and the fixture counts have been approved by the building department. And we are in the process of finalizing contracting with the contractor, 5 Star, so that we can get moving into construction here shortly. So, I think I skipped a slide. A little bit on the scope of work that will be done. So, what you can expect is an excavation around the B-box or shutoff valve in your yard, in a grassy area usually, or sometimes in pavement. And then an excavation around the water main. This is usually in the street or again, sometimes in grassy areas. Anything on private property is only to be excavated using a compact or mini excavator, and a drilling machine is also allowed on private property. Directional drilling is going to be utilized in most cases. This is a trenchless method where the drill actually sits on the surface. You can see that in the upper left photo. Sits in the surface and drills underground to help minimize any disruptions to your property. Most lead piping will be abandoned in place, but completely disconnected from the water main and your interior plumbing, and it'll be replaced with new copper. The photos on the side, again, we've got in the top corner. This is an excavation in a parkway, grassy area, and then we've got an excavation in pavement, typically what you can expect with that. And then internally, they will core a hole or cut out around your old service or where the new service line is to come in, and then that'll be completely filled back in with concrete. So all replacements are going to be getting a new B-box or new curb box or shutoff valve. The meter may be reused or replaced, but in either case, new full flow ball valves will be added to each side of the meter, and new meter couplings and meter gaskets will be installed. The exterior is to be restored to its existing condition, so sod will be used for green space restoration. If the replacement occurs between July 1st and August 31st, we'll be using temporary seeding, but coming back after August 31st to fully restore that with sod. And then your interior is to be restored to its existing condition, including drywall, painting, and cosmetic repairs. And contractor is going to be required to seal all of the foundation penetrations to waterproof that area.
picture, looks like all new lines that come up from under the floor.
All depends on where the old one is, or if there's a closet, it all depends on.
Writing that down for meeting notes. So the final construction review team, so after the contractor completes all of the replacement work, we're going to have at minimum 3 people reviewing the work on a daily basis. So the first is Tom Solke. He's our resident engineer with EEI, our field crew. Steve already introduced him, but he oversaw all the field construction for the very successful year 1 lead service line program in Batavia. And he's also been the resident engineer in other communities' replacements. He's also worked alongside this contractor, so he has familiarity with their staff. Second person that'll be reviewing every replacement is Jeff West. He's with the city of Batavia. Again, he was part of the year 1 team as well. And he is an extremely seasoned operator with over 30 years in the city's water utility. So you can expect to see those 2 around. And the third is going to be the city plumbing inspector. The plumbing inspector is required to look at every service before the underground work is filled back in. So they'll get their eyes on the full replacement as well. So all of this work will be warrantied for 1 year. After that, all private side materials will be the responsibility of the homeowner. So again, your private side goes from the shutoff valve to the water meter inside the house. That is all private side. Reference terms and conditions can be found in the temporary construction easement document that has to be signed before any of the private property work can take place. And the contractor's certificate of insurance will be provided to the homeowner as well. A little bit of construction overview. So this project was awarded to 5 Star Energy Services for about $3.9 million. The notice to proceed is likely going to be July of 2024. So we're trying to move through contracting quickly here so we can get construction started. And the contractor is going to target replacing 2 to 3 services per day. That number can vary. And our final completion date is 365 days after the notice to proceed. So assuming we start in July of 24, our final completion would be July of 25, but this could be sooner as well. The funding for this project is an IEPA SRF loan-funded project. It is a 30-year loan term with 0% interest up to $4.5 million. So as Steve mentioned, this is a very advantageous loan term for the city, and in securing that additional funding, it helps to get more replacements done with these advantageous terms. So moving into homeowner meetings. This will be the coordination between the contractor directly with the homeowners and residents. So these individual meetings are to be coordinated with each homeowner at least 3 days, but no more than 7 days prior to the replacement of a service if access to home interior is required. Partial replacements from the main to the B box will not require these meetings, but advance notification of the work will be provided to the residents in these cases. So you will be notified of that work. You will not have a scheduled meeting with the contractor. Written notice of any planned water loss will be provided at minimum 24 hours prior to water loss, and existing access to residents will be accessible at all times. If access is temporarily restricted, the contractor will notify you at least 48 hours in advance of this. And then prior to the service replacement, the replacement and flushing of lead service lines document will be provided to each homeowner on the day the service is replaced. So getting into a little bit of overview about 5-Star Energy Services, I'll go ahead and give a little bit of an introduction and then allow these three to introduce themselves to you as well. So 5-Star Energy is a contractor with over 4 years of experience in similar work. They specialize in horizontal directional drilling. They've successfully completed numerous lead service line replacement projects, many around this area, as many as 462 in Arlington Heights. And then they actually did over 1,000 in Detroit. When we bid this project, we asked for letters of recommendation. We received 2, one from Elgin, one from Galena, both in Illinois, both giving extremely good feedback and recommending them to be selected as the contractor for this project. Before we move on, I will let you three introduce yourselves.
I'm Jason Taylor. I'll be here for as field superintendent on the project.
I'm Dave Anderson. I'm a manager for 5-Star Energy. I'll be assisting with managing this project.
I'm Ernie Zeal. I'm the Director of Operations for 5-Star. I pretty much will oversee everything they do. If any issues come about, you can get a hold of me to get it taken care of.
All right, thank you. So the estimated schedule of operations. So the resident meetings, again, these are at least 3, no more than 7 days before the scheduled replacement. Prior to the replacement, all traffic control and erosion control devices will be put in place. And then when they actually do the service replacement, that'll be installed and that new service line will be flushed by the contractor and the resident will again be handed the flushing guideline document that day as well. Following that would be any concrete and asphalt restoration, and then any exterior and interior restoration that's needed. So, kind of touched on this, but we are anticipating the start of construction to be end of this month, so end of July of 24, with a goal of 2 to 3 service replacements per day, and a final completion date by July of 2025. And again, this could be sooner as well. Oops. So at this time, we'll take any questions or comments. I'll leave this screen up. It's got some of our contact information. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I know we'll get the following 3.
Yeah, we don't have that order established. It's kind of as the contractor's working where they're going to go. So you will get the 3 to 7, but we don't really have a way of giving you any notice any further out than that.
We should be able to. Oh, pretty close.
Oh, from there, she's asking, I think she's more asking long-term.
Oh.
Yeah.
I can't answer that right now because I don't know which one.
Yeah, we don't have an order set up yet or anything.
Once we have an overview of what the whole map looks like, we could at least figure out what direction we're going to start in, which way we're going to head. Maybe at that point in time, we'd be able to point out a rough guesstimate. But until we actually have that whole layout in front of us to figure out what our line's going to be.
Like, do you go down the street with people that are beside of you?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, but then we just serpentine around as well as efficiently as possible.
Right now, you guys don't have a whole visual of.
I have not personally seen it yet.
So I have a question kind of along the lines, because I'm holding off on, oh, thank you. I'm holding off on, I was just about to get my whole house repiped because the pipes are lead and galvanized. And certainly I'm not going to do that until that's done. Would that be the best thing to do.
I mean, I don't know how much it's gonna, honestly, if you got it done now.
Really? Doesn't matter?
It does not hurt to contact the project liaisons if you have a specific time frame in mind that you would like for it to be done. We can't make promises that it's going to be in a very tight window, but we certainly will take those things in consideration. There's enough flexibility in the scheduling that we should be able to work with you to get it done in a timeline that's going to be advantageous for you. I was going to say, in addition to that, if you know you're going to be inaccessible for a block of time over the winter, so on and so forth, it would be good to let us know that as well, so that we can make sure that we rearrange the schedule accordingly.
So I could, because I had, the impetus to actually contact was that I had had estimates done for repiping, and then I finally paid attention to the replacement letter. And I'm like, oh, so I've been putting off the people I've gotten quotes for, who have been very kind, because I said, I really don't know about doing this first or not, so I would do it. Go ahead and get it done?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so I could do, yeah.
You could do it- you could do that
Because I knew
first,
it was
yes.
sort of a nebulous, I mean, you guys didn't know for sure when it would be, when I saw it was like 30 to 60 before you'd even know when it would start. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No, those are very good questions, and I would encourage you, if you have any concerns or any suggestions for when you would like the work done, simply let us know, and we'll work with you as best as we can. Yeah, that's the other thing. I mean, one of two things will happen. You could proactively contact Jeremy and let him know, hey, we can't do it within a certain date, I'm going to be out of town, or we'll get to your house and we won't be able to get a hold of you, and we'll know we just need to push you back until you're available. Yeah, I mean, it would be very, we would like it if, you gave us a heads up, but, it'll work itself out. Yeah.
I'm at 351 Main, got the old limestone foundation. It's coming, I think, through the wall. I'll move some shit out of the way and look at it tonight. But I heard you put new ball valves both sides of the meter.
Right.
I changed a lot of the piping in my house. I got galvanized coming off the back side of the meter, house side of the meter. You guys put a dielectric in there, I'm assuming.
Yes, there would be brass fittings that will go in between.
Okay.
Yep, to prevent the corrosion control, right.
And then will we get an as-built with depth and location coming into our house at all?
The
where that
location
line
will
is
be as
exactly?
close to the existing water service line as possible, but the contractor
that
will
is
work with
either.
you on that. That's part of the homeowner meeting. They
Okay.
will come in, they'll look at your service, they'll talk to you about options that they think are available, what of those options is best for you, and work with you that way.
Got a lot of stuff around my water meter. I got electric meter panel right above it. And right outside where you're gonna be coming in, I got my condenser for my air conditioner, so I'll need to talk to you guys about that. When
Yeah, we'll talk
when we
about
get
it.
to that
Yep.
meeting.
That is not abnormal.
We'll have no that electric panel.
That may be a little bit abnormal.
If everything goes well, once we shut it off, it usually hour and a half to 2 hours tops. If it goes well, but there's times where.
We plan for the day, but it could be a half a day, it could be just a couple hours. I mean, it's all based on how we dig the holes.
And most of our houses are probably old and you have unique, I'll call them
Right.
opportunities.
Right.
Most of the services, we can't say it's guaranteed for everybody because every situation is different, but most of them are going to be a half day or less. And it's going to be done. Yep. And you'll have your water turned back on at that point.
Do you need our help? No, I'm just kidding.
Give them a sandwich, glass of water,
Main Street, that you redid Main Street, you're not getting back into the street that you just did.
Yeah, the city's done a lot of proactive planning to try to make sure that we avoid those situations where you're redigging in a street that's just been resurfaced. Yeah.
So was it at the homeowners meeting that you learned?
We should know that now. The question was, will you learn at the homeowners meetings whether it's going to be a partial or a full? And I believe, Jeremy, you've already identified those. So if you have a question about whether yours is going to be a partial or a full, please reach out to Jeremy and he'll give you all the details. Yeah. Yeah.
What do we expect as a result of this from other communities that you've worked in terms of things you'll notice about the water supply? City water here, at least on my side of town, isn't great. Kills my plants, tastes like the bottom of a bucket. Will that be a difference as a part of this, or is this just?
I don't know, usually the biggest thing we notice is water pressure.
Okay.
Because the old corpse that come off, they're like ½ inch and they get corroded in there, and then once we come off with 1 inch, you have big noticeable difference. Okay.
You may see an increase to, yes, the supply volume / pressure coming into the house because you have a new service line coming in that's doesn't have a lot of incrustation on it anymore. Other than that, from a water quality perspective, there's not going to be certainly any changes from the city's water treatment plant out to you. It's just what's related to your service. Yeah.
I just know other communities said there's a.
I've never heard that in like the taste of the water or anything. It's normally water pressure.
Got it, okay.
I don't know that. Okay, let's see if we can see that.
No, it's the chat.
I put that out.
You put that out, okay.
I put something up.
It's a good reminder for people online. You can type into the chat and ask a question. Now we actually have it up. Anything else? These are all very good questions. Yeah. 350 to 400. Yeah, and that's a mix of the partials and the fulls. So, and the city's still proactively going out and identifying the service lines to be replaced. They have a majority of them already identified, but there's still some that are yet to be identified that are going to be replaced in this program. And we're hoping this is going to get most of it. After this is done, a majority of the lead service lines will have been replaced in the city that were originally identified a couple of years ago. So they are well ahead. If you talk to any other community in Illinois, I mean, they are well ahead of the curve comparatively. So they've done an incredible job and a lot of effort has gone into it.
How many bidders did these guys bid against?
A lot. I don't remember off the top of my head. Was it?
I think the total bids came in somewhere around 8, yeah.
Yeah, I think there were 8 to 10 bidders, so it was very competitive.
We're working in 8 states right now. I think this year alone, our company's going to do around 12 to 13,000 lead water service replacements.
A lot.
So kind of when they started this business 5 years ago, that's kind of what their main goal was.
Yeah.
When do you start for the year, for this year, and
So if we have to open roads up once we can't get cold pad or concrete and asphalt no more, we'll work on the ones that are just public going from the parkway into the house, so we're not opening roads up. And then if it gets too cold, then we'll just be done till it gets decent out again.
Depends on the winter conditions, which, as we know around here, are very unpredictable. Last couple of years, it's been warmer later into December and even in early January, and it's allowed construction work to go a little bit later, but there's no guarantee that's going to occur. It could be, I would say, reasonably speaking, 2 to 3 months maybe they could be shut down. But again, there's several, or I guess quite a few, private side only replacements that are from the shutoff valve into the house that they could do during that time. So there could still be some work going on during that period of time, but we would still expect that there will be some level of shutdown period over the winter.
Temperature is the biggest deal with it.
Yeah.
when do you start?
We're going to try to start. The end of July is when we're going to try to get started on.
As soon as we get the contracts finalized, which we're anticipating here in the next week plus, then they will be able to start. Yeah. And so we're anticipating it to be 1 year, but it just depends on the conditions here through the winter in particular. If they do shut down, they would have to start back up again when the asphalt plants reopen, and that's typically maybe mid-April or so, maybe in early May.
We shut down in extreme like rainstorms, thunder, lightning. So if it is, if you're scheduled that day when we're gonna run your water service and it is extremely bad outside, we're more than likely gonna have to reschedule you at that time.
It's weather dependent.
Yeah.
What we're doing, so.
Yeah, and if we're going inside your house, we don't want mud being drug all over and making a big mess, so rain is a pain with that.
Okay, any last questions here? Yes.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, when you do your horizontal drilling, does it have to be a straight line from the Buffalo box?
No.
Horizontal
You
drilling?
can curve
To a certain extent.
Yeah.
How do you feed the pipe then?
You can't make a 90-degree turn, but you can make a soft turn. If I'm here, I could easily hit this side of it can gradually go over, but it will not make sharp turns.
There's a lot of upfront work to locate utilities on the property to make sure that there's no hitting of utilities that they aren't supposed to during the drilling process, in particular the sanitary lateral. They're going to be locating all the sanitary laterals before they do any drilling work. So.
Yeah, so you'll see a big box truck sitting in the middle of the road with the sewer lids open. That's us putting a camera in there to go up and camera all your sewers, so we know where they're at.
Things you don't want to think about, but it's reassuring that they occur, yes. Okay, thank you all for your time. We'll hang around for a little bit after. If something comes to mind, just come up and ask us. All right, yep, thank you. Looking forward to the year's program. Yeah.
I saw you asked the first question.